Hello, Jen.
Hi, David. I'm so happy to have you. Hello to everyone who is joining us. Hopefully, there's some people joining us and that we're just not talking to each other.
Well,
But
even if we do, it's okay.
even even so, right? And that's the
Exactly.
beauty of making online friends is that you could just chat with them.
Exactly.
And
It's always
that
a fruitful discussion with you.
exactly. Well, it's always a fruitful discussion with you.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
funny when I think back to how we met at the Salesloft Virtual Summit. That you doing that sales poetry. Just I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so inspired. I need to go write some sales poetry right now.
That
And
was
then
awesome.
eventually being able to find you to share my sales poetry with you and connecting, I think was kind of an interesting story because through the pandemic, the one thing we were talking about before going live is that that opportunity to meet different people from different places, and that it's been pretty that piece of it has been pretty cool.
Yeah, that was something I didn't expect that networking event or even that whole Sales Loft event to create a friendship with a person like yourself. And like it was funny that we shared when I shared the poetry that it inspired you to write your own. And it just shows how everyone can learn from each other, inspire each other. You've taught me also a lot of things, and I feel like that's what you and this community that you're building. You've brought on some really cool people. Everyone has something to add, so that's what I also believe in.
Yeah, I mean that's what's cool about LinkedIn Live is bringing all these people together, right? All these different voices and sharing that diversity of thought and being able to get everyone's different different ways that they do things, right? So you're over in the Czech Republic and you're in business development, and we're both doing some sales poetry, and that's kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you for anyone who doesn't know you that might be joining us.
Sure. So my name is David, from the Czech Republic. I spent 10 years in the Middle East, which gave me really broad and different perspectives and let me taste different cultures and understand them. And then I spent 4 years over in the US as well. So I spent most of my life, because I'm 24, outside of my home country. So after 14 years abroad, I decided to come back to the Czech Republic, and I've always been good at talking with people. So it led me into sales, and now I work for a SaaS startup that uses artificial intelligence to process semi-structured documents. Because a lot of people, I don't know if people in the comments have ever typed document data manually, but it's a boring job. So we want to make people's lives easier. And yeah, SaaS sales from Prague.
Yeah. No, and that's awesome. And now you mentioned to me that you do work sort of globally and that you sort of split up your day. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I get in at 9 a.m.
Mhm.
For an hour. I do some research, look for new leads, read some news, scroll through LinkedIn. And then at 10, I have my first call block, where I go and call European accounts.
Mhm.
Then I have another one after lunch. And then starting from 3 p.m. Until 5 or 6 p.m., I'm calling the US. So around halfway during the day, I switch from the European market to the US market. And it's really interesting to be like selling globally, because in
Mhm.
my previous job I was doing face-to-face sales. I was meeting with people. It was a local market. So I just recently, I've been at this job for like 7 months. Jen brings on a lot of big shots. I'm just kind of like the new guy on the block. But I enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, it's about splitting up. And it's actually interesting at the differences between how the Americans or the US, the Western Hemisphere, reacts to cold calls than the Europeans. It's really interesting.
So yeah, but what is that difference? So someone in the U.S. reacting to a cold call versus someone in European markets. What's the difference? Tell me about that.
I would say that the US or Canada, the people, they're kind of like used to getting cold calls,
Hmm.
and they're kind of like, they let the grind happen. They like, they under, a lot of the time they understand the grind, and they give you the space for the pitch. They want to hear the pitch. They want to keep it short and sweet, in a way, like under a minute, to figure out like what is the deal.
Hmm.
And then when you call the Europeans, sometimes they're like really confused about like how you got their number, and like, because there was like GDPR thing that happened a couple of years ago, so people are really sensitive about their numbers. And for with them, you have to have more of like a longer conversation that doesn't really get down right to business. So yeah, it's, those are the two different approaches. The West, the North Americans, they want to get to the page. They want to hear what it's about. Not all of them, but that's just my typical kind of
Yeah.
experience. Would you agree?
No, I would agree. And I would almost compare it to like in the United States calling the North, where the New Yorkers want you to get to the point already. And the South, where they're a little bit more open to a conversation. And you can actually start doing the rapport building, right? As someone who lives in the South but is from New York, so I'm familiar with both personalities, but also calling internationally, I do agree that they're like they will listen a little bit longer, but it's like you have to, why is it relevant? They are
Exactly.
quick to say, you know,
Yes.
whether it's
And they,
relevant or not.
yeah, they can be blunt.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
very much so.
But
Very
yeah,
much.
I had a cold call with a like a senior VP like an hour ago, where I called him, told him,
Mhm.
this is a cold call, the classic line, oh, this is a cold call, just throwing it out there. Do you have 30 seconds? And then he was just like, clearly he was just like not interested, didn't even work at the company anymore. But he's like, I appreciate, like, you're doing a really hard job, and I appreciate it. I had to do it,
Oh,
but like not interested. So it's always kind of like nice to hear that, and
mhm.
that people are aware of that. So
Yeah. No, that is nice.
yeah.
So when you look at like your schedule, and you were pretty detailed there, do you think how do you really manage, I heard about the time blocking, but how do
Yeah,
you stay on task? Like time management, we know in
I'm
business
working on
development
that.
is like one of the biggest things is staying on task and being able to manage your time effectively.
Well, like, that's something that I'm still working on improving, and
Mhm.
I would say I still have like a decent amount of way to go. So I'm not like a time management expert or anything. I use Pomodoro Assistant, for example, which is a
Mhm.
cool little Chrome extension. People who are watching, it's yeah, you can use it, and basically it gives you 20 minutes of productive time, and it times you, and then it gives you 5 minutes off, and then 20 minutes, 5 minutes off, 20 minutes, 5 minutes off, and then it gives you one longer break. So I'm trying to use tools like that to keep me on track, because sometimes I can get carried away, or an email takes too long. But the key is to just, whenever the time block and the time assigned for that thing is done, just move on, even if you're not finished with all of the tasks that you had planned. So just
Mhm.
don't fall behind, and just really stick to the schedule. And that's something I'm working on. What
Yeah.
about the people in the comments? Do you guys use any time management, or do you have any time management tips,
Yeah, we'll have to see if any
if
tips pop
anyone?
up. I will certainly share them on the screen as they do. But
Sounds good.
so, okay, we've talked about time management. You said recently you took a holiday. You went on
Yes,
vacation to
I
Greece,
did.
which is amazing, right? And so, taking vacation is super important that you take that time away. So, coming back, um, you know, how do you feel? Like, do you,
Refreshed, yeah.
yeah, refresh?
Everyone deserves time off. And I
Hmm.
actually learned from a client of mine recently that in Sweden, they force you to take like 6 weeks of vacation during the summer, because like it's a dark country. It's in Scandinavia, so apparently there's a lot of depression there. So they really want people to take 6 weeks off, and they almost force them. In the Czech Republic, it's a little bit different, but we still have like good time off. But I do believe that everyone deserves a good amount of time off to recharge their batteries. Because I came back, and yeah, I'm just like uh, don't feel the stress or any stress that I might have or I was feeling before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's important to recharge the batteries, and it's also important that you work at a place that understands that, because I feel like a lot of people actually see people just as batteries, and when they burn out or whenever their energy levels are low, they're just going to replace you. So people need to be like aware of whether they're working in a supportive environment as well, that recognizes this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And it's great that you took time for you and then you came back recharged, right? That as salespeople, we have a tendency to put that additional stress on ourselves, right? As
Yes,
well as get
yes,
it from the top. I know most salespeople that I know happen to be sort of the overachievers, the ones who are, always trying to produce the results. And at different times of the year, it may be more of a struggle, right? I know during the summer, sometimes there's a little bit of a summer slump. Do you
exactly.
experience that summer slump as well, or is that a US thing?
No, it's definitely. I mean, for example, with the Swedish, there's not going to be any business talks happening now in the summer with them. So it's important to plan ahead for that, and make sure that there's like a follow up conversation happening after that summer slump, which gives
Mhm.
you kind of like a sense of security, that you're going to reconnect and you respect their time as well. But yeah, I would say that we have the same thing in Europe, maybe even more so than in the US, because I think we have more time off than you guys.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I
Yeah,
always say to people, the easiest way of staying off that emotional roller coaster of sales is to make sure that you have a full pipeline, right? Because you
true.
always have something coming from somewhere, and that there are always people that you've been working with. That's the easiest way. Um,
Yeah,
because it's really easy to start riding that emotional roller coasters of the ups and downs and, the good days, the bad days, all of that.
exactly. Yeah, and also with the business development role,
Hmm.
there's so many things that could be happening at once, and there's also a lot of like sometimes even luck involved. You get like a really good inbound that you didn't expect, comes out of nowhere, end of quarter, you take it, you're happy, and it compensates for some of the things you might have been trying hard, but you weren't getting the results. But it's all about like just keeping cool, trusting the process, doing your best, not getting too caught up if things are not going as you expect. It's good to have also low expectations. Obviously, you want to exceed your goals and meet them, but it's
Hmm.
good to just be relaxed and not to get too worked up over some numbers.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes that, depending on what your work environment is like, is how you can adapt to that, right? You don't want to get overstressed about, the KPIs and all of that. You just want to do your best effort. But, coming from the top, so you're always going to have to meet a certain set of KPIs. So I think,
Exactly.
having that space and psychological safety to be able to share when you're experiencing different things while you're doing your outreach, I think is important as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it links back to what I said in the beginning, is that like everyone
Hmm.
has something to add. And I feel like a diverse team of personalities is like what every company should be really striving for, rather than
Hmm.
having a team. It doesn't only relate to sales, but pretty much any team, of having a lot of similar personalities. So like I think that's one of the good things that my manager did, because we're building a really uh, outbound enterprise focused team.
Hmm.
We got together like a really diverse team of not only in terms of like nationalities and people, but the personalities themselves. So different approaches. We all work together. You hear from them, you learn from them, and I think that's key.
Yeah, I 100% agree. One of the things I constantly talk about on LinkedIn or the various places is that the idea of, the power of diversity of thought and the difference between like focusing on like culture fits versus culture adds, where you're bringing in unique personalities to bring a different perspective, which I think is
Exactly.
so important because everyone's going to have a different take. One of my favorite stories from Amazon was Jeff Bezos. They're actually, this was like when they first got started, and they're packing boxes, and they're all on this like concrete floor. And he's packing boxes, and he looks over at his, team member, and he goes, "You know what we need? We need knee pads." And the guy looks over at him, and he's like, "Jeff, we need packing tables. We don't need knee pads. We need like tables." And it's just, you don't, a different take on just about anything has a great deal of value. And I think people forget that the ideas don't have to be sometimes epic. They could be simple,
Exactly. And it's not that you also have to do the things that the people suggest, but it can even
Yeah.
improve the process in some way, which is like the story that you described.
Yeah.
And another thing that I would say is like this also, I mean, it's relevant to sales, but I guess it could be relevant to anyone who's providing like a good product or a service, is that sometimes when we're selling, or we have these like KPIs and all of these things, sometimes we can forget that what we're doing is actually for our customers and for our clients to be happy. Do you have that feeling sometimes? Like I had that realization like 2 months ago. Like I think we provide like a solid product, and I'm always trying to do a good like buying experience. But sometimes when I'm like chasing the dials, I get caught up in that rather than like remembering the core thing, which is like making the customers, they're the priority.
Yeah, making it relevant for them, like what's in it for them. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it's not about you. You could sell a product all day long, right? Or try to sell a product all day long. But if you're not making it relevant to them, or you're not reaching them at the right time, it's not going to make one big of difference. Um,
exactly.
and I see that a lot, that everything, especially as I have a lot of inbounds, through LinkedIn, of people trying to do outreach to me, that it's very much not about me and about what they do. And, to me, that just doesn't resonate, but it is what it is, and as everyone's trying to reach people over more channels, and LinkedIn gets a little bit, you know, busy, noisy, how do you stand out from everybody else? So I'm curious, are you doing anything new and exciting to stand out from everybody else?
Well, I'm trying to, I mean, take inspiration from multiple sources and try
Hmm.
different approaches. So the poem is still in my cadence,
Yeah.
and I use that as the first one because it can kind of like soften the mood with the
Hmm.
people. They'll like be aware of it. Maybe they'll not respond to it, but they're gonna remember. Oh, I read some poem, and then in the next one, I follow up on him like, oh, you might have seen a poem from me, and then I try and go really straight to the point and do like a really short email rather than like a long one of telling them, hey, let's talk. Is this relevant to you? Let's talk. So I'm trying to combine multiple things to be just effective and get people to open and respond.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I hear you. I still have the poem in a cadence as well.
Nice.
And I did break it up into two different emails, where the first part is like, what's it all about? And the second part is like what you'll get out of like a meeting, right? And so, ironically, I had a couple people who wrote like little poems, like rhyming phrases back, which I thought
Nice.
was super cute, even though they were telling me now. The amount of time that it took to sit there and think about, let me respond in a rhyming way where I'm sending back a poem is like quite clever. So,
Nice.
you know, I
Yeah,
appreciate
rejecting
that.
people nicely is good.
Well, yeah. I mean, I will always go for the nice rejection, or at least, what I could have done differently, or, what could be changed up, because I think very much believe in a student mindset. Like, things change really fast. The one thing that's guaranteed in life is change, right?
True that. Yeah,
And what resonates with someone like a month ago may not resonate with them now,
exactly.
right? How has their world adapted from a month ago?
Or what did they
And
do 10 minutes ago before you called them?
right?
Yeah,
So, how can we be relevant in the time of when things are actually happening? I think is sort of that next wave of personalization, because, how do you know how to be relevant in that moment as opposed to, whatever happened last month?
Yeah, exactly. Just being adaptable is key in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, us, I'm 24, we have it like in a way somewhat easier because like all of these technologies come in a time where we're like the first ones to get our hands on them. So
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of sometimes like I'm asking myself like are we moving way too fast in some ways, like even with the cadences being automated, like we're losing that personalization. So what is the right balance between like moving forward and like keeping the old personalized approach? And those are some of the things that like I think about sometimes, is just like, are we perhaps like moving way too fast? Like are we giving people also the chance to adapt to these new technologies? Or like if
Mm-hmm.
you're, for example, someone who's over 50 and you've worked in some industry, and suddenly some software comes up, like are you going to have a chance to adapt to it? Or is it just like moving way too fast for you, and then you become in a way unemployable, which like I feel like is in a way unfair? So
Well, I mean, the ageism is definitely out there, but I just turned 45.
yeah.
And so I'm always learning new technology. And I think most people my age are, because there's all so much new technology out there to learn. And it's kind of exciting to learn all this new tech that's coming out, right? Funny enough, I have Justin Michael joining me next week for Tech Powered Sales, because he's got his new book coming out that's all about being tech powered in sales and how to what's the line? Achieve superhuman sales skills by leveraging technology. So
Nice.
I'm kind of I can't wait for that. He was supposed to come on, but we had to reschedule. So I've been looking forward to that for a little bit now.
I'm
So
definitely gonna watch that one.
yeah, and he brings some interesting methodologies with like short outreach. Before we came on, we were talking about all the various types of outreach and that you're, trying new things. And you mentioned that skit, but like, I think that's the important part, is always trying new things. So
Yeah.
I'm not above sending a GIF or a Bitmoji or something to try to stand out from everybody else.
Yeah, me neither.
Just because you have to do something that's different, right? And I think that's key.
Yeah, and I also heard that like not mentioning your company's name at all in the email is also a good tactic. So like you don't actually mention your company's name. You just like talk about it, how it's relevant to them, and
Hmm.
then the people are just like, but like what is this company? And then that gets them interested, and they're probably more likely going to respond. Like if you don't mention in the email like Rossum, for example, or any other
Hmm.
company, Microsoft, and you just like let it kind of be open to for them to like guess like, oh, this sounds relevant, it is cool, who are they?
Yeah. Have you tried that?
I try it like I'm starting to try it now.
Hmm.
But I've seen it like a lot on podcasts, people saying that, and even my manager recently shared like a cold email she got, and it didn't mention the company's name, and she was like, yeah, that got me interested. So yeah, what do you think?
I
Do you
don't
try
know.
it?
I may try it. I don't know. We'll have to see. It was funny. I got a cold email from someone I'm prospecting today,
Mm-hmm.
and it was right to the point, to the demo. It mentions this product. So like it makes me think that if you didn't, it would probably create that curiosity. So I'm all for curiosity. That's sort of like where where's this going? But I'm more of the relationship building, sort of that, you know, bringing the human element to it. So I like to do video. I like to do the LinkedIn voice messages.
Yeah, I tried video. It didn't work for me for some reason. The people, like I would cold call them and say, "Hey, I'm gonna send you like a personalized video," or like, okay, I didn't say it like that, but I told them like, "I'm gonna make a video for you, just explaining what it is," or maybe I didn't even speak to them, and they were like, "Yeah, send it over," like super excited. Then they never opened it, so I'm just like, ah. Like, but it does take only like 2-3 minutes to make it, and you kind of like once you get a pitch or you improvise a little bit on each one, it could be effective. But I kind of gave up on it, so I might get back into it.
Yeah. Well, I had someone send me one of those gifts today that they made themselves where it's just like them waving, right? So you get a feel for who they are, but it's not actually a video. And I was like, I wonder if I should create some like custom gifts
Yeah.
of like, hey,
Like,
you
I'm
know, like,
here. Open the
look at
email.
me, look, pay attention. Like, like,
Let's just talk. I don't want your
come
money yet.
on, come on, let's be friends, right?
Yeah, exactly.
See how that works. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
definitely, it's noisy. It's noisy out there. How
it
many
is noisy
people?
out there. It is
And
so. It is so noisy. You're right. Continue. Sorry.
no, it's okay. I mean, even as I was looking at the Salesloft like agenda, right? Where am I going to go? Because you had all these choices of all the places you can go for that second session. And I'm like, unique outreach is sort of where you're always going to need to be adapting and growing and changing and doing it fast because it's the one thing that allows you to rise above the noise is something different. And
Exactly.
I think it's important that we try different things. So,
Always. Always. Yeah. Never stop. Never stopping.
right?
It's a Andy Samberg movie. It's a funny quote. Never stop. Never stopping.
You see, I don't know that movie. What's the name of the
Yeah.
movie?
Never stop. Never stopping.
Never stop, never stopping.
Yeah. It's really random.
It is really random, but
Yeah.
I'll check it out. You never know.
Yeah, it's the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Lonely Island. He's like a goofball, but I don't know. I like his humor.
Well, that's
Also,
awesome. I'll have to check it out.
humor is super important in sales, I feel.
Yes, I do too. I stumbled across Tom Boston from Salesloft. Have you seen his videos?
No, I haven't.
He's hilarious. He is so hilarious. And it made me pause and go, wait a second. He's selling to revenue leaders and marketing leaders, right? And those personas, those are the ones that we're doing outreach to. And how, like, he's so funny. I'm never going to be that funny. So how can I be different, or how can we as an organization be different to sort of stand out? And, just
I mean, you
as
stand out. You
inspiration.
stand out, Jen.
Oh, well, thank you. Have you
Yeah.
seen, and then there's Shannon Sellis who's doing the singing in sales.
Nope. No, I've seen a
I'm gonna
rap.
have to send her
I've
a
seen the
stuff
rap
to
of
you.
someone of outreach, maybe, or someone doing rap.
Oh, yeah. There was an entire like period.
Oh yeah,
of time
remember?
where
Yeah,
everybody was doing
I
rap.
remember that. You even did a rap. That's the one that's gonna be
Oh,
an. That's the
yeah,
one that's gonna be an NFT one day.
yeah. No. Yeah, I spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to rap for LinkedIn, but no, it was
Yeah.
bad. Well, we're at about time. It goes so
Yeah.
fast.
It does go fast, but it was nice. It was nice to talk with you. Even if maybe no one joined, it was still nice to talk with you.
It's okay. Sometimes people join after the fact. A lot of times
Exactly.
we'll have people who are looking at it at their convenience as opposed to, when I decide to go live, which
Yeah.
is perfectly appropriate. So
Yeah.
either way,
And obviously, as I said, I'm just a BDR starting out, so not much hype. Like, yeah, let's go watch this guy.
well, yeah, but I think there's just like all of the different women I bring on for my ladies' happy hours. I think there's value in having all the different voices
Yeah.
that could be on LinkedIn Live, being able to share their thoughts and what they're experiencing because everyone has their own unique journey. You've been to the Middle East. You just came back from Greece. You're,
Yeah.
you do poetry in your outreach. That's all pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I was surprised that you asked me to come on, so I do appreciate it a lot.
Well, yeah, you seemed interested, and I was like, well, okay,
Yeah, always down for
come
things like
on.
that.
We'll talk about whatever. I think that power of relationship building, that no matter where you go, that there's an opportunity to meet someone new and learn something, right?
Exactly.
Did I think about doing poetry in my outreach before I met you? Absolutely not. And look, now we've got people coming in.
Nice. Thank you guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're watching now. So that's pretty
Great.
awesome.
Yeah, watch it later and hit me up for the people that we haven't spoken in some time, but join this. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope everybody's doing well. So
Yeah.
keep it
So,
cool, guys.
Yeah, for next week, I've got Justin Michael joining. We're going to be talking about the new book, which is Tech Powered Sales. I'm also looking for some moms to reach out and join me for a LinkedIn Live Ladies Happy Hour on Mom Life. That's going to be at the end of the summer, just to like, how are things actually going? And this week is the Wise Sales Network Conference. If you haven't signed up, I'm doing a breakout session for sales leadership with her, which is going to be amazing. But everyone, have a great afternoon. Or evening for you, David.
Thank you.
Evening.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.